Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. I shall see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today. Had a good stream today. A chill stream, if anything. Finishing off a little to the left. I guess we'll talk about that. I didn't even think about that. I haven't really thought about it, so I'm not sure exactly what sort of things I'll say about it. So maybe I'll save it for tomorrow? I don't know. Because normally I take the time to sort of collect my thoughts about it, and then I'll talk about it properly. So yeah, I guess I'll talk about it tomorrow when I can actually sort of think a little bit more about it. But hello everyone, right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5:31 p.m. on Sunday, January 12th, 2025. Or should I do it today? I don't know if there's much to say about a little to the left. You know, I think we can do it. Now, what did I think of it? I think it was nice. I think it was a bit unexpected because I didn't actually expect it to be as puzzly as I thought it was going to be. It's kind of like I thought it was going to be kind of like unpacking, where it's essentially just like, oh, you can kind of basically put things wherever you want. There's like a huge amount of flexibility. There's only some things which are egregiously wrong for the sake of like story purposes or whatever. There's not much to it which is like, oh yeah, you cannot conceivably do this. But a little to the left is actually a lot more puzzle based than I thought it was going to be. The general concept, there are basically no spoilers in this game. There's like no story. Well, it's light story, I should say. It's like implied through environmental stuff, kind of. But the story is very light, so you don't have, in my opinion, you don't have to worry about spoilers. But a little to the left is a game, a puzzle game essentially, where it's all surrounding organization, where basically every single level you'll be given a mixed array of things which are like out of place or, you know, messy, etc., or not in any specific order, and then you will have a task of basically ordering it kind of the way you see fit. Well, not quite the way you see fit, because the game has in its mind what it wants you to do. And I will say that like 95% of the time, I feel like the orderings are very reasonable and make sense. There'll be things like, oh, order it by like the height of a books or something, or you might order it by like the colours of the leaves or something like that. Or there's some like interesting things which they do as well as like more of a minor part of it is the fact that you are able to also have like additional ways of ordering things. So like if you order it one way, you might like be like, oh, but I kind of wanted to order it a different way, and then you'll find out, oh yes, it actually does allow you to order it the other way. It just, you know, it gives you like a bonus objective, if anything, because some of the levels have multiple ways of ordering things, and its core concept I think is very good. Like it does exactly that. Like what I just described, it does that. That's the entire game. There are very few like iterations upon that for like semblance of difficulty or anything, and if that description doesn't sound like something you would enjoy, I would say don't get this game. But if it sounds like something you could relax with, yeah, get this game. That's you'll thoroughly enjoy it. It's basically that over and over and over again. I don't mean that in a bad way. You might see that's dismissive, but I think it's, you know, good for when a game seeks out to do something and then it just does it incredibly well. It knows exactly what it's going for. It knows exactly the type of vibe it's trying to nail, and it just perfectly encapsulates it. The things of like putting things in order, essentially. So yeah, on the whole, I did actually enjoy the game. I think basically like 95% of the levels, I was like, yeah, this is a fun time. This is cool. This is relaxing. Because all of the solutions come quite intuitively. And then for those of you who want to have like a little bit more of a challenge, I suppose, to it, is that a lot of the levels, a plushy hissy morphing potion? What? That's in the what? If that's in the weekly quests? Holy moly. Okay, I guess I'll do this then. For those of you who want a bit more of a challenge, is that some of the levels, again, have additional like ways of solving it. Like very interesting ways of solving it. So like I think one of the early ones you do, but this is like not a spoiler, but amusingly was one I got stuck on for ages, is the fact that you can sort the books by height. And it's like, yeah, cool, that's pretty, like, that makes sense. It's like the way I would naturally do it. And then the other way you can do it is you can sort the books by thickness, which is cool. Amusingly enough, in that level I got stuck on it for a while because I did try and do it by thickness at one point, but it's a little bit hard to judge exactly which books are slightly thicker or not thicker than the other. So probably I just got the thickness the wrong way around at one point, and I was like, oh, because it can't give you any feedback to be like, yes, this is along the right track or not for something like that. It's either you get it or you don't get it. I thought I got it wrong, so I was trying a whole variety of other different things, like trying to sort it by color, trying to do some sort of line-based thing, trying to do some sort of thematic-based thing. But you do eventually sort of figure out as you play the game that the way things are organized tends to be how should I put it, much more sort of clear cut. And I'll give you like, this is the mildest spoiler you can get. It's not even a spoiler, but like there's nothing else to clear, okay, fair enough. Hint of like what sort of style of patterns they're looking for. Is they're looking for the most obvious pattern always being size ones. There'll be some color ones, but only if it's obvious which color is which. And then there'll be like making a pattern out of them, like you're trying to draw like a line or something with it, or there'll be a different sort of incremental order, like height thing along the way. Like in retrospect, I think most of them are pretty straightforwardly obvious. Sorry, I'm doing some Neopets in the background. It's just sometimes I'm just like, it's a bit like iffy. Like one of them I can think of, like one of the later levels, it was iffy not because it was a much more of a sorting level. It was more very much like a very different style of level where you basically had photo frames and you were basically rolling a ball between the photo frames, trying to like do this like Rube Goldberg-esque machine for it, except for it was very unclear what things led to another thing. So like I would roll the bowling ball downwards into what I thought was the reasonable one, and then I was like, I can't get into the hole, so I rolled it out into another one, and then it rolls back into the hole somehow, and I'm like, okay, I'm not sure how that works. And then it goes into the hole, and then it teleports out a different side, and then you do a similar thing, you roll it into a hole again, except for this time I was just like, where does it go? I have no idea. I assume it's meant to go into these middle ones, but I have no sort of bearing on how I'm meant to arrange these middle ones where I assume it's a destination such that it actually works. So it sometimes doesn't always work when it does something a little bit different, but those levels I would say are very rare. Sometimes when it does something different, it does work. Like there's one where you basically have freeform choice of how you want to organize the things. It just needs to be symmetrical. So you can make a face, you can make a pattern. I would say it's a little bit finicky, to be fair, as well, because it's like the thing looks pretty symmetrical, but it also has like this autocorrect feature where it will lock things into place, but you can't tell which things are locked into place and which things aren't locked into place because the grid doesn't always fully exist until you do a little bit like jiggery pokery. But like the concept of that level works pretty well. And there's some other concepts of levels where you sort of like put things together in like little pieces, I suppose, like compartments. That's a word, where you organize things. And yeah, but a lot of them like work pretty well as well. But yeah, I would just say that the levels have a variation of how well they work, but the variation isn't huge enough to really be much of an upset. It's not like running into a level which feels a bit more iffy than the others. Never made me be like, this has ruined the game for me. It's just more like, oh, that was a bit of a stranger level, but whatever. Because the scope, the variability within the levels all feel rather similar, and not in a bad way. It's just they are like the nature of what is going on is relatively similar. So there is not much for the sense of seeing it in a bad way, I suppose, or seeing it in an excessively good way. Like I guess the way I'd put it is I didn't come out of any of the puzzle levels being like, this was my favorite level or this was my least favorite level. They're all like, hey, yeah, that was a nice experience. And I think that's a good thing in a way, because it's basically one step up towards a puzzle game than unpacking is, and like one step down from, I don't know, what else is a very casual puzzle game? I can't think of one. Snakebird Primer or something. Snakebird Primer does have its difficulties though, to be fair. One of the challenges. I think aesthetically it's a very nice looking game. It's like, it gives me very sort of like, not paper but cut out, but what's a word, sort of like artsy craftsy, sort of like stick things together vibe. It's got a very relaxing, pleasing art color palette, which is sort of predominantly by like these sort of pastel colors with these bold colors thrown in every now and then. So it gives a really nice relaxing vibe. The color, not the colors, the soundtrack as well really helps with that, and the little sound effects as you move things about have this sort of nice sort of ASMR feel to them. So if you want a low-key sort of game, I think it works pretty well, to be perfectly honest. It's just like sometimes you might run in, this asterisk, right? Sometimes you might run into puzzles which you go like, I'm not like seeing it, or it's like this is becoming less relaxing because I can't figure out exactly how you specifically want me to arrange these things. But they have a very nice system in the game that, for one, you can skip any level that you want, like no cost whatsoever. You can just be like, I'll leave this level, I'll come back to it, and it will just skip a level, it'll mark it as complete for you, you can go into the next one, which is interesting because the entire thing is quite linear in the first place. So they have a skip level sort of thing, but it doesn't really seem there's much need for the linearity, I suppose, except for like different worlds sort of had to be sectioned off, right? But so be it. It doesn't really matter if they'd solve it. But I would say they have a very nice hint system as well, because what the hint system is basically the solution, to be honest. You might be like, how is that a good hint system? The good hint system is the fact that it basically is the solution, but it's like scribbled over roughly with pencil. And what you can do is you can take the eraser to like slowly erase the parts that were scribbled out to reveal what you need. Because when it's scribbled out, you can see like the very edges of the solution in the first place, which might be enough for you to be like, oh, that's what they're looking for. But if you still don't get it, you can erase more of it to try and figure out what is going on. And if you really want to, you can erase the entire thing. And they have hints for each potential variation of ordering that they're looking for. So yeah, I think that's like a really nice, tidy way to do things. You get to control basically how much of a hint you need. If you're just like, I think I can see what the other ordering is, but I don't know what goes first, then you can just erase the very left side and you can see what happens. Or if you're like, I think I have a vague idea of what's going on, and you can just sort of like erase the middle part and you can get a glimpse into that. Or if you're just like, I really have no idea what to do, you can erase the entire thing and you can see the entire solution. And I'm like, that's a really nice way for you to be able to have that barometer, for you can control it. So like if you want a relaxing experience where you don't have to think too hard, you can just erase all the hints and it's fine. I will say it would be a bit cumbersome because you can't like have it displayed at the same time and recreate it. But it's nice. Like I said this about Chicory as well. Chicory has a really nice hint system where if you need a hint, you can go to a phone booth and you call up your parents, and your mother will give you like a vague hint of a general idea of what you want to do. And then she'll ask, hey, do you want to speak to your father? He wants to give you a bigger hint. And the father will basically spout out exactly what you need to do if you're stuck. And I was like, that is both very nice because you have like tiered hint systems, but also really nice as well that it incorporates really well into the lore of Chicory. This one kind of does as well. Again, there's not much lore to a little to the left, but it fits a sort of like scrapbook feel to it. You know, it's like you have these sketches of the ideas of what you want, and you're just sort of like slowly revealing them. But yeah, the only like bad thing I would say about Little to the Left is almost that I feel like it should be even easier, because I feel it's going for this like really, really low key, low vibe, low energy, chill out sort of game. But then it's also got this weird sort of dichotomy where the puzzles have like a fixed solution. And, you know, it's not about how you want to organize these things. It's about this is the organization that we want. And for times when the levels are really clear and obvious what they want you to do, it works great. It's swimmingly. You look at it and you be like, I can immediately see what you want. But then the times where it's like, it's a bit more ambiguous, like especially some of the alternate solutions, it's sort of like, I don't know. But I guess at that point, if you're looking for the alternate solutions, you're not going for that low-key vibe anymore. You're going for much more sort of puzzle hunty vibe. So I think it does kind of work. I just think like there's maybe it doesn't meld quite as I expected it to. But I also think that was built on my own preconceived notions of what it is. As I said, I thought it was very much like an unpacking thing, where it's like you order these things how you want, and then we'll sort of move on. It's like a relaxing experience. But it is, I want to stress, it is very simple, but it is at its core a puzzle game. I think more so than I would say Unpacking is a puzzle game. Unpacking, I would say, is more of a relaxing game with vague puzzle elements, but this is more of like a puzzle game with relaxing elements, if anything. I was thoroughly impressed with that they have like this daily tidy thing. So it seems like it would make a great mobile game. I don't know if it is a mobile game, but you could just like open it and then every day you do like the daily puzzle, quote, where you just organise some things. And if that seems up your alley, then yeah, you got like a daily way to do it. I did expect there to be more of a story, I think, throughout the entire thing. I thought like you would assemble things in a way that you'd be like, oh yeah, this is enlightening to the story of a person's life. And when the cat got introduced, I was like, this cat's gonna die at the end of it. And I guess it's kind of spoilers, the cat does, because it's all about the cat sort of ascending upwards, and I assume the entire story is about you sort of like putting your life back together in the shadow of a cat no longer being there or something. Like it felt like a lot of like when you're doing a constellation level, assembling the constellations of a cat. So I was like, I assume this is meant to be like a memorial sort of thing. But I would have liked to see maybe a bit more. Maybe it just went, I'm not going to say maybe, probably if it does exist, just went straight over my head. But I didn't pick up on it, so fair enough. But I thought it'd be like you just photo frames and you can see like the journey of this person's life or something. The same way that unpacking has like these different stages of life. But it felt more like the worlds were divided into like themes, if anything. Like this is the plant section, this is like the mechanical tools section, etc, etc. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying it seems like there could have been a cool potential there for something. But yeah. Oh, another level which actually really was quite annoying to fiddle around with, which I felt was far too much into the puzzle aspect compared to what I expected, was the boxes level, when you had like a load of cardboard boxes and it was basically like a very interesting slidey puzzle. But yeah. Let's see what other people are saying about it. Let's go to the left. Steam game. It is on my phone, which makes a lot of sense. Oh, the spoon level actually did kind of make me go like, what? Like the ways you arrange it is like, one of them is from like left to right, you do it by size. But it turns out the other way you're meant to arrange it is by stacking the spoons on top of each other, which I was like, okay. That was just a bit unsatisfying, if anything. Oh, if you're colorblind, give us a skip. There are no colorblind options. That's fair enough, but I didn't even consider that. If you're colorblind, you cannot solve some of these levels. A game that has explored how to make colorblind friendly puzzles. Yeah. Just add symbols. I like how challenging the game can be, but also relaxing. Yeah, I think it's because I went in expecting a fully relaxing game, but there's still like elements of challenge within it, which is interesting. I think, in general, it's a good game. I don't think it's going to be like a great, excellent, perfect game of the year for anybody, but I think it's a nice experience, a nice enough experience, right? It does enough with a relaxing, and it does enough with a challenge, but if you're looking for exclusively one or the other, I don't think it's going to fulfill either of those needs, but it does fulfill the niche of this like organization thing, which I think unpacking also does quite well. Being able to sort of put things together nicely. So yeah, I think that's just my own personal experience that maybe a little bit different, because a lot of people are saying this is super relaxing, and I did find it relaxing, but I just didn't find it, I guess, as relaxing as maybe I thought it was going to be. But yeah, generally positive is what I'd say. 7 out of 10 is like the perfect score, I would say, for it. Well, it's like, it's good. And I think a good thing about it is also quite generally applicable. Like if you're looking for a relaxing experience, or like a rather chilled out experience, I think this will appeal to a wide variety of people, to be honest. So yeah, I'd give it a go, to be honest. I believe it was also something which was made during like a game jam or something, right? Don't quote me on that. And then like it was made into a full game. Rock, paper, shotgun described one of the puzzles had an unclear solution. How would you organise these keys? I didn't think the keys one was crazy. I was surprised at how many of them which I was trying to organise by colour, and it didn't work. Because I think that's the nature of it, is that I felt like I was going into this game and it was like, I get to decide how to organise their things. But really, if you go into this game, you should understand that it's not you deciding, it's you trying to figure out how they want you to organize these things, or perhaps a better way, an interesting way to organize these things. Because some of the ways you organize them are absolute insanity. Because I approached it by being like, how would I organize these if I had them in real life? And some of them are just like, this is insane. I would never organize a thing like this. But at the same time, if you approach it as a puzzle game, I think you come in with a little bit of a different mindset, and it maybe appeals more in that sense. But anyway, I am going to round this episode off here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.